Welcome to the 8-Bit Pop Culture Show. I'm Hekla Petursson, and today I'm feeling so grateful to live in the great city of Richmond. Why, you ask? Well, among many other reasons to love this city, we have an amazing music scene. Our venues are phenomenal and ever-growing, and so are our artists. There's so many diverse genres you could explore just within our own music community. Well, today I'm talking to one of those folks who's going to talk me through her journey into music, as well as just gab about media and MySpace. Bring back MySpace. I'm so excited to welcome Madison Turner. Welcome to the show, Madison.
Thank you so much, Hekla, for having me.
I am so hyped to talk about your music. I was introduced through an article written by Quentin Rice recently, and I'm obsessed with your music.
Thank you so much.
Cool. I also noticed on your Spotify, you are putting some really cool discovery albums, including like a folk ska one, because your genre range is so wide.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your journey into music. You have been in a band, you're in a solo project now, and you kind of have a separate solo project to begin with. Out of high school.
Sure, yeah.
How did you start that?
Yeah, I started playing guitar when I was about 15 years old or so,
Nice.
and almost immediately ignored everything that the guitar instructor was trying to teach me because I just wanted to learn how to play, like, Against All Authority and Real Big Fish and Pennywise songs and stuff. So I immediately was just like, this Mel Bay book, boring.
Boring.
Power chords and bar chords when you play them on the upbeat, not boring.
Hey.
Very fun.
Also
So,
very advanced.
very advanced. I mean, you learn one shape and then you can just do all of those things and then you never have to learn anything again. Until you're older and you go, oh God, all I know is that one shape. Then you do some more.
Yeah, but it works.
But it works. And yeah, so out of high school I started learning guitar and then played my first shows when I was still in high school.
Wow. So how was it playing while you're in high school? Because I personally, in my hometown, I don't think anyone was doing that unless it was like maybe theater, and you would have been like the coolest kid in my town.
I was definitely not the coolest kid in my town. I can tell you that.
Okay.
I was definitely a dorky video game kid.
Yeah.
Who I had my guitar and I had video games and I had just just doing my own thing. And also I went to high school in like 2002 to 2005 was my high school years, which was also like kind of when I started going to shows. So like my first shows were like Warped Tour 2002, where I saw like Real Big Fish and the Mighty Mighty Bosstones and all name drop Against All Authority again and the Know How and bands like that. I think Tiger Army was there. And also like one of my first shows was Goldfinger with the Used opening for them.
Whoa.
And some other bands, Riddlin Kids played, stuff like that. And so I think that sounds maybe cooler now than it was in 2002 to 2005, where it was just like, wait, you like ska music and like weird punk music? Like, it was more like, oh, that's weird and dorky, but I never cared about that, so I was just doing my own thing.
Yeah, and we're lucky you did because now we have your music.
Yeah, thanks.
So when you were that young, getting into music, how did you get into venues? Were you just cold calling, or how did it work?
Like to play?
Yeah.
My first shows were mostly like backyards and stuff, like very DIY. While I was young, you could still email or cold call or just walk in somewhere, or MySpace message was a big one. A lot of MySpace messaging to get into venues. But definitely when I was like still in high school, it was still like I can think of playing like I had a ska band that played at the local American Legion, for instance. It was just like where are we gonna do this show? We'll do it there. And I remember like walking around the high school just passing out like black and white flyers to everyone to go to the American Legion to see my ska band. But eventually I also started booking at venues that were too large for what we were doing.
Whoa.
Like I also remember like renting out State Theater in St. Petersburg, which was like, I don't know, 800 capacity. Let's just say somewhere on there, and renting that out and just like being like, oh, because this show is going to be big, and then being like, oh, I overestimated the thing, but
You're dreaming.
But you learn and you move. It was fun though.
Yeah, that sounds so difficult to do. Not only when you're young, when people kind of often poo-poo what the young people want to do, and it's like, I swear I'm talented, but also just to like be advocating for yourself.
Yeah.
And now I think a lot of young people who are getting big like that, like you mentioned before the interview, Lord. There's like new media that they can use. Like a lot of young people are getting famous on TikTok and such. So I feel like it's totally different than in the 2000s when, like you said, you could hand out the paper flyers.
Oh
like,
yeah,
come on over.
You had to promote your shows. A lot of the time, you had to go to the other show, and then right as the band was like starting their encore or toward the last few songs, you would go outside and stand by the door and then hand every single person a flyer as they left.
I love it.
Which honestly, I do think is maybe missing a little bit these days.
Yeah.
Like I think everything is so social media oriented, kind of as you're saying, that there is that like tactile, real in-person sort of meeting or interaction that's sort of lost in this age. And I don't know. I feel like I need to push myself and just go stand outside a show and just give people some flyers.
But it is hard now. I remember the first time I was handed a flyer at a 9:30 Club show. I was so confused because no one had ever done that to me before. But I did end up listening to their music. It did introduce me to them, so it worked.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I've had both. I've had definitely good interactions while you're doing it, and I can be, I have to overcome like social anxiety and stuff to do a lot of that, but I've had, very positive interactions, and you make fans or friends that way sometimes. But I've also had like a very clear picture of like a crust punk sort of guy who took my flyer and looked at it and then threw it on the ground and stomped on it in front of me and walked away. And I was just like, I won't forget that either.
No.
Which is kind of hilarious. But
it feels like what people online call a canon event, where it's like it has to happen once.
Sure, yeah.
But that image just makes me think of like some old, maybe like Scott Pilgrim scene or something.
I could see it. A little sex bomb here.
Yes. Oh, love it. Okay, so when you moved from touring in your hometown, you ended up you went to Oregon before you came to Richmond even?
Yeah, so I'm from Tampa, Florida.
Yes.
And I lived there for about 24 years. So I did a lot of music in Tampa.
Yeah.
Between like solo projects and bands and things of that nature. I did a lot of touring from Tampa to mostly through the East Coast, sometimes through the Midwest. And but I moved to Oregon. I lived there for about a year and a half or so.
Yeah.
I really wasn't doing music while I was over there, very, very barely. And I got to a point where it just wasn't for me anymore.
Yeah.
And so I decided to essentially couch surf for about a year and a half. And a lot of that was through touring so much and making so many friends all across the United States that I was able to couch surf without doing it in a way that I didn't know anybody. So I would get in touch with people and be like, hey, can I stay with you for a couple weeks or, a month or so here and there? And a lot of people were just like, yeah, totally.
That is so cool.
Yeah, and it was a lot of fun.
I feel like that's one of those moments that don't happen a lot, like you said, because the person-to-person interaction has been kind of low recently. So, having known someone in most states where you can couch hop is so cool. And usually it's the best kind of people who are like, come into my home.
Incredibly sweet people, incredibly sweet, and just like too nice, I guess that would be the words. Like to be like, oh yeah, you can totally just stay with us. Like
I'd be like, really? Just like that? So how did you end up in Richmond after all that? Because it's a big country.
It is. I stayed in Richmond, I think, the most out of anywhere while I was couch surfing. Maybe like a total of 3 months or so of the time that I was couch surfing, like during different chunks of time. A lot of the time staying with my friend George, who plays music. He now lives in Atlanta. He plays music under the name Yankee Roses.
That's really cool.
He also released a new album pretty recently, which is amazing. So you can check out Yankee Roses. But I stayed with him for quite a while, and I just really liked Richmond. And I got to a point where I was in a spot where I was like, okay, I'm just gonna move somewhere. And I was talking to a different friend on the phone who was from Richmond, and they asked me what I was going to do. And I was just like, what if I just moved to Richmond? And they were like, well, I know 3 people who live in a 4-bedroom house that could use a roommate. And I just said, sure.
That's so perfect.
That's how it happened.
And it worked out?
And it worked out.
Sweet. So when you moved to Richmond, is that also when you restarted your solo project, or was it before?
It was a little bit before. I moved to Richmond in 2016, so I've been here about 10 years now. And the first album for this solo project came out in 2013. That album was called Life.
It's a really good album, too.
Thank you.
Like, especially when I go to listen to someone's first album, I'm usually expecting it to be like the one they recorded in their bedroom, but it was quality.
I appreciate it. It's definitely, compared to the last couple albums that I released, it's definitely like the much more raw kind of, the first few things that I put out for this project, Life, and then the following EPs, Depression and Ugh. Those were all very much meant to sound like what it would sound like if you went and saw me at a show, which at that point I was playing shows as a 3-piece, where I would just play acoustic guitar and sing, and then I'd have a drummer and a bassist, and just kind of do like punk rock or folk punk or whatever, like in that sort of variation. And I was just like, I just want these albums to sound the same as they would if somebody came to a show.
I like that.
Yeah, thanks. And I kind of flipped that with the last couple albums, and especially this most recent one, where I was like, I want this to sound like really produced. I want this to sound. I want to get like a moment to moment, like what layer do I want in there? What kind of like fun thing can I add that maybe you don't notice that it's there, but subconsciously you're like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So let's talk about the new album, because, okay, the name of it I really like. I don't know why, but it exudes a vibe to me. So it's called Curtsy When You Land. Let me put it back up because it's really pretty. Let's talk about the theme of Curtsy Where You Land, because it feels pretty cohesive in messaging. Yeah. You talk about it because I'm about to geek out about it.
No, I appreciate it. I really do like a cohesive album in that there's some sort of theme or overarching message or something. And for this album, I really think that it kind of boils down to escapism through media. I think that art is very powerful, and art comes in all forms. Some of my preferred forms would be either movies or television or video games or music. And so Curtsy When You Land is mostly about escaping like a very depressing or confusing or frustrating world by submersing yourself in art, whatever form you prefer.
Yeah, I love that. And I feel like that theme is especially like on everyone's minds right now. So like a lot of people probably will relate, especially like post-COVID, when we were all stuck in our media.
Oh yeah.
And it was like, is media the enemy, or is this like beautiful art?
Yeah. and post-COVID really changed so much with how we consume things too. Like it has changed things, I think, so that people are a lot more comfortable consuming art in their home. And I use art very liberally, because I feel like there was this thought, maybe even going back to like the 90s or so, of like like television is junk. You can't sit in front of the TV. You have to whatever. And now I think it's kind of come full circle where it's like, oh no, that's like a form of art, and you can like sit down and watch TV almost to the point where you escape the like doom scroll, the infinite scroll of like social media sometimes, where you could sit down on your couch and realize that an hour and a half has gone by and all you've done is just scrolled through TikTok or Instagram. And so people go, oh, I need to like submerge myself in something real, and then they go and watch TV, which was like previously thought of as junk that you would like, it's sort of like changed a little bit.
I think so. And while you said that, I want to make the interesting point that recently Netflix asked their writers to keep repeating the plot to the audience because they assume the audience will be on their phones. So super valid.
Oh yeah, the show Don't Tell has like completely changed these days. I mean, it's the same way, and that even kind of went back to. Do you remember the Blank movie, the like epic movie, the Blank movie where it was like those very, very cheaply made like comedies of, sorry to, I think those guys are named Jason and Aaron, who I guess I'm dunking on for writing these movies 15 years ago. They don't care. They made so much money.
I bet.
They were so overt because those were like the first movies, as far as I'm aware, that were made for teenagers to be on their phones in movie theaters and to be able to like use their phones and just be a bunch of high schoolers and then look up and be like, ha ha, funny breakdancing person fell in manhole or whatever, you know, like whatever happened in those movies. Like, ha ha, Christina Aguilera, who was just in the news because that's the time it was, is being parodied and she fell down.
They're so
whatever,
good.
You know, like whatever that was. And so like that was almost the start of that trend of like, we're just gonna we know people are doing something else. They're not going to be invested in this media. And I don't know. To me, I guess that concept is also kind of depressing. But
but I think it's the same for music, bringing it back to your album, that a lot of times people are listening to this in the car or they're listening to it out and about. And I think a lot of times, sometimes now people aren't even thinking of the lyrics. I see a lot of TikTok comments that are like, oh, these aren't the lyrics I thought they were. So I think it's really interesting that it's happening to all media, not even just television.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
I think of like when I was younger and I for sure would put on albums very intentionally, like in my room, and then just like sit and listen to albums.
From like track 1 to the end.
And it's hard to do that without like being in a car, at least for me. Like
the same.
Yeah. Media's become, I think, a little bit harder to consume if it's like a longer form. And I also think that it's harder to repeat listen. Like, it's harder to repeat watch. And I think that streaming and infinite possibilities and all of that has like changed that.
Oh, that's a good point.
When I was, I think of being younger and I used to like watch the same movies over and over, and I used to watch the same TV shows, like, you know, having the DVD and putting it in again. You know, it's time for, you know, season 1 of Arrested Development again. You know, like gonna watch it again, or you know, whatever movie, just put it on. But same with music, and I think that with streaming and with all of these different possibilities and of what you can watch, a lot of times people just like will watch things once. And I think that's the same for, or maybe that they have their one comfort thing that they watch over and over, and then also the new stuff. But like, I think that's becoming true, or has become true for music as well, where a lot of people will just consume whatever either is algorithmically like given to you, or you'll listen to an album or singles or whatever and be like, okay, that was cool. What's next?
Yes. Like, I don't find even though I'm interested, I don't find myself listening to a full album all the way. I'll listen to the one track that came up in my For You playlist. So you came out with physical media, which is becoming rarer and rarer by the day. Tell me how you did that, because I think that feels like a boundary for a lot of people, that like CD's too expensive, vinyl's too expensive.
Sure.
What do we do?
Sure, and it is expensive. But, and I was very grateful that Adam from Say 10 Records in Richmond reached out to me and wanted to do it, and wanted to do it on vinyl. And so that's really why this one's on vinyl. This is the first record that I've had, to me, mass-produced. There's 300 copies out in the world. But,
Which is really cool.
But you know, I've done, like, lathe cut before where it was, like, a run of, like, 5 to 10 or so, like special ones, like things like that. But this is the first time that I've had like a run of vinyl for a record released, and Adam really made that happen from Say 10 Records. He approached me to do a song on a compilation called Never Erased, which was a compilation that came out in 2023, maybe. We recorded a song in 2022 for it. It was all LGBTQ bands.
That's so cool.
And it was for, oh man, I don't remember the nonprofit. It's been years since we did it, but all proceeds went to a nonprofit. And
that's really cool.
And that was also on vinyl. Adam just really liked the song that we recorded and was just like, I really want to have you do a record for my label where it's just all songs that are like this.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I'm down. They won't all be like this because I can't write an album where I'm just like, I can't write an album where I'm just like sticking to one specific sound or something. I'm like, I just got to do what I'm going to do. But he was like, yeah, do whatever you want. And great, you know, so.
And that's how we got Curtsy When You Land?
And that's how Curtsy When You Land came out.
Okay, so earlier you mentioned MySpace, and I think MySpace was iconic for creators and artists, and people right now are really nostalgic for it. Or Gen Alpha and younger Gen Z are very jealous that they didn't have it. If you had a MySpace right now, what would your MySpace top 8 include?
It's such a fun question. I mean, Say 10 Records, for sure, for getting this album off the ground. I don't even know if I would have recorded it if Adam didn't ask me to do a record. I didn't really have a plan to do it. And then I was just like, you know what? I've got some songs. I'm going to write the rest of it.
Yeah.
So Say 10 Records and Audio Verite, which is the studio that Pedro owns in Richmond. Just a genius behind the board and has a great studio. There's a band from New Jersey called The Best of the Worst. They would have been on our MySpace top 8 when MySpace was a thing back then, but also now because they're like a hardcore band with horns, a little bit of ska, and Liz from that band recorded trombone on this record.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I don't know who the other 5 would be. I'm sure we've got a lot, but I also want to mention MySpace is just leaving everything on the table. It's like that website still exists today.
Does it?
It's terrible.
Oh.
It's like this revamped, weird, broken thing.
Oh.
If they would just bring back the old like code and just
That's what we want.
Have old classic MySpace.
Yeah.
Let you have your like glittery things on the page and set a top 8. I'm just saying, I think people would use it.
I want one so bad. But you're right, it is kind of leaving everything out there. It's like, here's my favorite this, here's my favorite that, here's my street address and where I live.
Sure. I do remember posting like advertising for shows by posting like MySpace bulletins, which was just
so
a
cool.
feed that was like all in order. Like, and so you'd have to like try and get people to follow you so they could see your bulletins on their thing.
That's so OG. Okay, last but not least, we have to talk about your concert coming up at my favorite venue in Richmond, the Camel.
That's awesome.
Please introduce it, how people should show up and get tickets.
Yeah, totally. We're playing Tuesday, January 27th at the Camel, so that's coming up. I think it's going to storm this weekend, so I think after the weekend and everything clears up a little bit and you need to get out of the house and go do something, come do something with us, which is enjoy live music, which I think is more important than ever. We talked a little bit about post-COVID and like, I think that has made everyone, including myself, a little bit more reluctant to leave the house.
Yeah,
and
same.
I think that every time that I go out and I'm like, okay, I'll go do the thing, I'm always like, oh, this is amazing. I should be doing that. And so I implore everyone, leave the house, come to the show. It's going to
Yeah.
be great. You're going to feel that energy very differently than if you were to stay inside and be like, I'm going to do this from my couch.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, come hang out. The Camel is such a fun venue.
So good.
Tuesday, January 27th, it's going to be my band. We talked a little bit about my music, but even though it's a solo project, it is a band.
Yeah.
And we're going to be playing as a 5-piece. We'll have,
Sweet.
a couple of guitars and a bass and some drums and a keyboard and a couple people with microphones. So we got some good harmonies going on.
Exciting.
And it's going to be loud and fun and chaotic and controlled and energetic. And I think it's going to be a blast. But we're also playing with a few other bands that are all within some sort of alternative or rock or punk or Americana or whatever genre, emo,
Yeah.
Like there's all of these genres, which are just to say it's loud and fun, I guess.
And when there's multiple kind of genres going on that are in the same, I feel like you learn so much about what you like.
Oh, totally.
Oh, gosh, like the first time I heard ska, ooh, it was so good.
Love a good ska band.
But you might not ever come see that new kind of music if you weren't already coming to see, say, Madison Turner.
Oh, sure. Yeah, sometimes you go to see a band and then you see somebody else and you're just like, whoa, what is that?
Yeah.
And I can for sure think of, I saw a band called Men, Women, and Children open for, I think, RX Bandits, maybe. This was like, who knows, 15 years ago or more. And that was one of those, like, they were like a dance pop, like upbeat, like hi-hat, like sort of thing. And that was the first time that I saw something like that. And I was just like, whoa, that's
Mind
cool.
blown.
Yeah. And wouldn't have thought about that if I didn't go see like a ska band. But yeah, I mean, this show, Tuesday, January 27th, is my band. It's 3 other Richmond bands. Americans Abroad are playing. They're really cool. Musco Buffet is awesome. A little bit more emo tinged, I would say.
Okay.
And then I haven't seen Text Brian by Friday yet.
But it's such a good name.
They're the they're the one that I haven't seen yet, but I'm stoked to see them. And it might be the same thing where I'm playing the show and I might just be like, whoa, like, And so, I implore everyone to come check it out. You can get tickets if you go to my website, which is MadisonTurnerOfficial.com. It'll just go to the link tree that has a bunch of links, so you can find my socials and you can find music videos and streaming and stuff. But also at the top, there's going to be tickets to any shows that I'm playing in Richmond. And the next one is that show at the Camel.
That's perfect. Yeah, everyone should. I'm going to look at the camera. Show up. It's going to be so fun. If you've never been to the Camel, it's awesome venue. It's like just big enough, just small enough, where it kind of feels like you're part of a community a little bit. I love it. Thank you so much for joining me on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. This was a blast. This was great.
If you've been waiting to get into the Richmond music scene, there is no time like the present. Go check out Madison Turner among 3 other awesome bands at the Camel, or just go check them out online. Streams and follows and likes, all of that engagement really, really helps artists get visibility or just feel supported. And it makes you feel kind of good. Listening to an artist that might live down the street is really cool and not something you can say in every city. So, support the artists you love. I'm Hekla Petursson. If you want to support this show, you can follow me on socials at the Hekla, or get onto the WIC Plus app. You can get it on your streaming TVs like Roku, or you can use the WRIC News app. You can get your weather, your news, and the show all in one spot. How cool! This has been the 8-Bit Pop Culture Show, and I'll see you in the next episode.